Hi, this is Nina with Walla Stamping. Thank you for joining me today. This is the project that I'm going to be sharing with you. This is a little ornament ball that I picked up when I was in Walmart today buying my Christmas tree, and the purpose of it is actually to put a photo in to give to grandma or something like that, but I had the idea of just making a little decorative piece to put on the inside that would be good for giving to teachers or something like that. So I've got the Be Joyful on the front with a couple of stars and some red glimmer paper, and then on the back I've also got stamped To and From and Merriest Wishes. Now you wouldn't have to stamp anything on the back if you didn't want to. I think it's a good idea to do the To and From and maybe put the year, and then the Merriest Wishes, you could leave that out and just write a personal note on there if you'd like. So let me show you what all you're going to need to create this project. So first of all, you'll need a couple of pieces of very vanilla cardstock, and these are cut to 3.5 by 3.5. Those are going to make up the larger circle on the front and the back of the ornament. Then I've got a piece here that is cut to is that 2.5? Yes, 2.5 by 2.5, and that'll be used for the Be Joyful. I have a piece of red glimmer paper, and it's cut to 3 by 3, and then I just have a small piece of scrap very vanilla that will be used to make the stars. Also, I'm going to be using my Versamark and my embossing buddy, some cherry cobbler ink, as well as some basic black ink. And to do all of my cutting out for the circles and the layering of that, I'm using the Layering Circles framelits. I'll be using the largest plain circle as well as the next, well actually this would probably be the third largest plain circle, and then let's see, I believe it was, yeah, it's the next to largest scalloped circle. Then for the little stars in there, I'm using each of these and just cutting one of those out, and I will be embossing these with my Versamark and some silver embossing powder, which is right here. And I have my stamps all mounted on a C block. And you'll also need some Jewel's Basic Rhinestones as well as some dimensionals. Now the stamping that I've done on here, I've used the Merriest Wishes stamp set, and I've used the Be Joyful, the To and the From, and the Merriest Wishes from this set. So let me set everything aside and get it out of the way, and we'll get started on creating this project. It really goes pretty quick because there's not a whole lot that you have to do to prepare it. So first of all, let me leave this so you can see it. Yeah, right there, I think you can see it. First of all, let's go ahead and get everything cut out. I'm going to put my Big Shot up here. Oopsie, and I knocked him over. That's okay. No harm, no foul. So let's put the Big Shot here. And first thing I want to do is cut out my larger circles. So grab that largest circle off of there, and I'm just going to cut these out one at a time. Now I'm using the magnetic platform with my Big Shot, and I love it because it makes it so much easier when I'm cutting out shapes, especially if I'm cutting around a sentiment. Makes it easy to get it lined up. All right, so I got one of those cut out. Let me go ahead and get the second one done. And then let's go ahead and cut out these two little stars. You know, for that matter, you could just use your leftover scraps from where you're cutting out your circles instead of having an additional piece of paper. So let me show you how I would do that, and you can decide if you want to do it this way or if you want to have just a small scrap piece of paper to cut these out with. And I always, 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 without fail, put my framelets and thinlets right back on their little magnetized sheet so that I do not lose them. Okay, so that's how I did that. Just cut it out of the corner of that scrap piece there, or if you're more comfortable, you can just have an extra little scrap piece of paper to cut those out with. So we are done with the big shot now. Let me move it away. All right, I'm just gonna grab this scrap of notebook paper here and use it to do my stamping on top of so I don't get it on my work surface. First of all, let's go ahead and stamp the Be Joyful. So I'm going to use my cherry cobbler for that. Get that stamped right there, or get it inked up, I mean. And then I just eyeball it and try to get it in the center. Okay, turned out fine. Let's set this aside, and then we'll go ahead and get the piece stamped for the back. And on the top left, I'm going to stamp the to and from, and then the merriest wishes down below. So let me get my to and from inked up with my cherry cobbler. Stamp that right there. Oops, I had a little boo-boo right there. It's okay. Just don't press down as hard as I did, and you won't have that issue. So for the merriest wishes, I'm going to go ahead and do that with black ink. I tried it with red at first, and I just felt like it was too repetitive, or the merriest wishes didn't stand out as much to me done in red. So I'm doing it in black. All right, so that is all the stamping that you need to do as far as colored ink goes. Going to move that away. Now for the piece that is going to make up the front, we'll go ahead and get this put together. And what I'm going to do is use dimensionals for this. I used 3 on the back of the red glimmer paper and just layered it up and centered it within the very vanilla circle. Just like that. And then I also used 3 dimensionals on the back of the Be Joyful and centered it up within that red glimmer paper. Okay, and at this point it doesn't matter, you could put it on there any old way and you're okay, because you have to worry about getting the direction right once you start putting it into the ball, because you don't want to have this one up and that one sideways. So that's when you're going to want to pay attention to which direction everything is going. Okay, and I only bought one of these, so, and let me show you how to get this apart, because at first I was like, how in the world? But you just turn this top, and then it comes to a point where it lets loose, and you pull it up and off, and then you pull it up from the bottom. And what I did was, the piece of paper that comes inside, and it tells you how to open it right there. I used this on the inside because it has this little lip up here which fits right in there and prevents it from falling around and getting jostled inside the ornament. So I used that as my base, and I just stuck everything to the top of it. So let's put that right there, move the bauble in the top over there, and let's go ahead and just stick this down. So I'm going to use some fast fuse because I feel like it needs to have some strong adhesive to hold this into place, because you know, people will store their ornaments in their attic, and what is wrong with my fast fuse? People will store their decorations and that kind of thing in their attic or maybe in their garage. So you're going to want a nice strong adhesive to make sure that it's going to stay stuck if it is exposed to heat and cold. So see what I did there? This is where you need to pay attention to your sentiment or what you've got stamped here being straight up and down. So this would be the top of your ornament. So make sure that you've got that stuck on there in the correct direction. And while we're at it, let's just go ahead and put the back on. Now I had well, wait a minute, is that the one? Oh, here we go. I had misstamped that first one. This is the one that I just did. So we'll just use it. And I put quite a bit of fast fuse on the back of here because, again, I want to make sure it stays stuck. And then I just get that lined up as best I can, get it stuck down. So that part is done. Okay, so let's go ahead and get these stars embossed. Now I did this 3 separate times because I wanted those stars to look like little pieces of metal. And I've showed you all this process before with the Snowy Pines box that I created. And I'm just taking my shape and the back of a paintbrush and I'm just smushing that paper down on top of this Versamark pad. Then I have found it easier for me just to grab a little pair of tweezers and use those to move my paper around with. Okay, so sit those there. Actually, this one I think I can tell that I need more Versamark on there. Let me get that pushed down a little bit more. It didn't look like it got saturated really good all over the whole surface. That looks better. Alright, so we'll set that aside, and then I'm going to sprinkle these with my silver embossing powder. Then use my tweezers, go in and find them. And I try to be as gentle as possible so that I don't knock off a lot of the embossing powder. Okay, so let's grab these, and I do them one at a time, and I try to keep them separated so that the air from the heat tool will not blow them away. So I'm going to turn the volume off and let you watch me as I go through this process on the first one, and then the process will be the same the second and the third time. That looks like a piece of metal. I love it. Let me put it on top of this. It might be easier for you to see on top of a piece of paper. But anyway, doing your embossing and your silver embossing powder like 3 times will actually make this look more like metal. Now what I'm going to do is take a couple of rhinestones and put them in the center of these stars. So I'm going to use one of the largest ones here and put that in the middle of the largest star. Press that down real good, and then use the next to the smallest size on the smaller star. Then I'm going to be using dimensionals on the back. Now on this one here, I've got 2 dimensionals put on there. So I'm just, well, no, actually I think what I'll do, I forgot that I had cut these in half. So let's do that. I'm going to cut one of these dimensionals in half. And put one on top of the star and then pull off the backing and expose that adhesive, and then take the second dimensional that I cut in half there and put it right on top and then peel off the backing. Then I'm going to put this one right up here above the L, or in between the F and the L, right above the FUL. And then on the small one, we need smaller pieces. So I'm just going to trim these right here so that I can have 3 small pieces to go on the back of this small little star. So let's put down the first one, take off the backing, grab the second one, and stick that down. My hands are kind of dry from using that embossing powder, and I don't know, now everything's wanting to stick to my fingers. Take off that backing, oopsie, turn it back over, and then this third little bitty piece, put that on top and peel off that backing. Then it's going to go right over here next to the first star. And I just give that a good little push. So there you go. That is your insert all created. And how you put it on the inside of this little ornament is just open it up. Use the little lip of the piece of paper that came in and lay that down right up there at the top. Just move it around until you get it centered in there. Then close your ornament, take the lid, put it on and turn it, and your ornament is finished, all ready to give to a teacher or a friend or a co-worker or even a family member for that matter. If it doesn't act like it wants to snap together real good, just give it a little push. Now, just remember that the embossing powder does stay tacky for just a few seconds after it's heated, so let them rest and cool off before you handle them. And if you would like to go to my blog and get the printable PDF on how to create this ornament, just click on the link below and it will take you there, and you can print that out. It will have all the dimensions of the circles and which items that I used, so it'll be easier for you to recreate it, or you can just recreate it by rewatching the video. If you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I would love the opportunity to be your demonstrator. If you want to recreate this product or this project with the same items that I used to make it, with the exception of the ornament ball that I bought at Walmart, you can get them at my online store. So if you will go to my blog and leave a comment under this or about this ornament, I will put your name into a drawing to win this ornament. So I hope you guys have a great Christmas, and I will talk to you soon.